Hey friends, welcome back to RV Miles. I'm coming to you from Elkhart, Indiana, RV capital of the world, where they make about 80% of the RVs in the country. This is the annual dealer open house that happens every year where they show off new wares to a lot of the dealers. They ship them in and invite dealers to check them out and essentially place orders for the fall. So I'm here to look at a lot of new product and stuff like that in the RV industry, but today's video's not really about RVing so much, it's about trucks. One of the biggest videos on our channel, in fact, it might be the biggest, is a video I did on towing a fifth wheel with a gas truck, and our decision to do that, was it a big mistake? And you know, I generally had pretty positive reactions to our gasoline truck. We had this 7.3 liter so-called Godzilla engine in a 2021 Ford F-350. And well, we've had some issues. I talked about this in depth on the podcast, so maybe some of you have heard about this, but I want to share with you what happened to our old truck and why now we've switched to a diesel. And do we like diesel better? Is it a better towing vehicle? Is it worth the upgraded cost? All that sort of stuff. So I'm on my way to this place called Vanilla Bean Ice Cream, which our friends Tony and Peggy from the Stressless Camping podcast turned me on to just the other day. Some of the best ice cream I've ever had. And I decided I need to go back and get some more. So that's where I'm on my way right now. And I thought I'd do a little chat about trucks on my way there. So here's what happened. As many of you know, we're not full-time RVers anymore. We stopped being full-time last fall, but we still travel extensively. And our big summer 6-week trip happened a few months ago now. You know, we're not towing the big fifth wheel anymore either. We're just towing a 25-foot Ibex travel trailer that only weighs about 9,000 pounds. But previously we traveled with a 15,000-pound Sabre fifth wheel. So our trip begins in Illinois and takes us over to Charlottesville, Virginia. So some mountain driving, stuff like that. And everything on the way was fine. As we leave Charlottesville, we start to hear some sounds that I don't like so much. Primarily a popping from the exhaust. So as the fuel is getting into the exhaust because it's not burning and popping. And then if I was accelerating heavily up a hill, I would feel what felt like a cylinder misfire. Though I wasn't getting any check engine lights based on that, but it certainly felt like an engine misfire. And we continued to travel with it like that. Very intermittent this problem was, which I thought could have been either spark plugs or plug wires, which tended to be an issue with that engine, the plug wires. So we get to Savannah, Georgia. We're only there a couple nights and we leave. And when we leave, it starts getting real bad. It starts running real rough. And we find a Ford mechanic on the way. This is like a factory authorized mechanic, but it wasn't a dealer. It's like one of those shops that just primarily does like big trucks. They do a lot of like, you know, your local bread trucks and mechanics trucks and stuff like that. So I get it over there. They offer to look at it real quick. They say to me right away, I'm really sorry to tell you this. This is not going to be something simple. This is going to be your lifters and cam. So a major issue. They told me something that I heard bits and pieces of ever since I've owned that engine is that there are some lifter problems with that engine. Turns out there's actually lifter problems with pretty much all heavy-duty gas engines. Anyway, what they recommended to me was actually to limp home with it and get an extended warranty, wait 3 months, and then go say you're having this problem. So they weren't trying to sell me anything. They're trying to help me out there because this was going to be a total $12,000 engine replacement, most likely. Well, we were still midway through a big trip. We were on our way down to Disney World, in fact, and had spent a lot of money on that portion of it. So the idea of going back home, which would require us driving that truck, pulling a trailer again over mountain passes and everything to get back to Illinois, didn't feel like the greatest thing. But driving to Florida and seeing what happens didn't feel like the greatest thing either. But we thought about it. We thought we might do that and maybe have it go looked at more seriously down in Florida. In the meantime, we decided to price out a replacement truck. And that's the route we eventually decided to go with. So in a very short time, over day and a half period, I traded in the old truck for a very slightly used F250 diesel. And I'm going to talk a lot about why we went with diesel and didn't go with the same engine, all that sort of stuff. But it might be obvious that we didn't want to go back to that engine because we were a little insecure about it. The lesson I learned there really essentially is something that a good friend of ours had told us when we bought that truck is don't buy a new engine. Don't buy an engine that's just come to market, that hasn't had a few years for the manufacturer to figure out all the issues it might have. What I understand what is happening with these 7.3 liter gasoline engines is that the rollers on the lifters the metal is failing on them. And when that happens, they start to eat up the camshaft. And one of the early warning signs of that, by the way, is worse fuel mileage, which I didn't really know, but was happening. And this happened at about 72,000 miles on the engine. So, of course, well out of warranty. The warranty on a gasoline engine from Ford is up to 36,000 miles. I have heard rumblings of people getting taken care of by Ford that have had this problem out of warranty. So one route for us would have been to just raise holy hell with Ford. And that's certainly an option we would have pursued had we not gotten such a good deal. So what actually happened was I traded in that truck and they treated it as if it didn't have any problems. So I got a really good amount that I was very comfortable with, and an amount that was much higher than the Blue Book value on my trade-in. So that's one piece of the puzzle. The other piece of the puzzle is this particular dealership was selling their loaner vehicles from the previous model year. So this is actually a 2023 truck. It had 4,000 miles on it when we bought it. So it's technically used, but they also included 150,000 mile factory warranty. So there were a lot of things about that deal that made me very happy and not inclined to end our trip early, figure out what to do about getting Ford to take care of fixing this truck. Regardless, it was going to be, weeks of waiting for a new engine to be put in the darn thing. So it's not something that was a reality for us. So we traded it in. And I'll be honest, I was actually looking at more 7.3 liter engines apprehensively. But I've gotten really deep into researching what this problem was. Not a lot of detailed answers, but what it seems like now, there's a few different varying opinions on what has happened with these 7.3 liter engines. A lot of people believe that Ford just got a bad batch of lifters. The metal was bad on these rollers for whatever amount of time, and they caught it too late. And that this problem was happening primarily with 2020 and 2021 models, maybe 2022's, the first 2 or 3 model years that this engine was in existence. Others believe that it has a lot to do with the variable pressure oil pump and not getting enough oil pressure in. One thing that would bear some people to believe that is that Ford actually did a software update recently that somehow changed the output of that oil pump to help solve this problem, I suppose. So, I don't know the answer. I don't know if it has been, and this just happened within the last few months. So I don't know if this has actually been resolved in these engines. But again, as I said before, it seems like, we had lifter problems in our Ram 2500 Hemi. And it just seems to me like these big block gas engines tend to have lifter problems. Do I blame Ford? Absolutely. Do I think Ford needs to be recognizing this problem, and then there are a lot of people that are having this problem and they need to be doing something bigger to take care of this problem for customers? Absolutely. But I can't speak to whether that is something that they're doing or not, just because I didn't have to go through that process. So that's where everything ended up with the old truck. So why did we go with a diesel? Why did we drop down to an F250? And why did we stick with Ford? I'll get to those answers in a moment. But first, this video is sponsored by our friends at RVmattress.com by Brooklyn Bedding. If you want a real mattress for your RV that is made from one of the top mattress companies in the country, it's made in their factory in Arizona, shipped to you wherever you are in the country, even to a campground. They come vacuum sealed. You can unroll them inside your RV, not have to shove a big mattress through that small front door. And they are toxin free, and they come with a 120-night sleep trial. If you aren't comfortable on them, you can work with them to figure out how to return it or donate it. We have mattresses from Brooklyn Bedding in both of our RVs and in our home. We've got our king bed and our 3 kids mattresses at home, plus bunk beds in the RVs and everything. Why do you need a special mattress for your RV? Well, because RV manufacturers make all these weird sized bed platforms. A lot of the king and queen beds are actually short kings or short queens that are 6 inches shorter, or you need to have a thinner mattress so a slide can close over the top of it, or you have all these different odd bunk sizes. RVmattress.com by Brooklyn Bedding makes them all, and you can get 25% off with the code RVMiles at RVmattress.com/RVMiles. And if they're offering any other special deal on the site, say they're offering 25% off for a Veterans Day sale or something, you get an extra 5% off. So always exclusively, you're going to get the best deal if you go to RVmattress.com/RVMiles with the code RVMiles. Let's get some ice cream. Oh, butter pecan. So good. The other day I had their oatmeal cream pie flavor. Fantastic. So first things first, after all that, why another Ford? Well, I'm not like a brand snob, right? I don't have affinity to any of the major brands, and I don't think anybody should either. They all do some things well, and they all do some things poorly. Other than having a major engine problem, we liked everything else about our F-350. But another issue was we were on the road, and we have this big rack on the back that held 5 of our bikes, and we needed to be able to put that back on something, and it was only going to fit the same size bed. So we probably needed to go with another Ford, unless we decided to really quickly Facebook Marketplace sell everything off, the bike rack and the bikes, while we were down there, which didn't seem too reasonable. I did look around a little bit at other dealerships, but it turned out too that the closest dealership with the best inventory nearby there was a Ford dealership. So we were kind of forced into that line. And, you know, I knew the 6.7 liter diesel engine has been around for quite a while now. And it's pretty tried and true, though there are some issues, and we'll get to that in a minute. But from doing my research when I bought the gas truck, I was pretty comfortable with Ford's diesels as well. So that's why we made that decision. Was I angry at Ford when this happened? Yeah, but the deal was good enough that I didn't care too much. And why go diesel? Well, maybe not for the reason you think. I don't think the issues that we had with our truck really had anything to do with it being something that towed heavy. And I think that's some of the feedback that, you know, people are going to give us on this video and have already on other things that we've talked about this, like the podcast. But I actually think that even towing heavy was probably better on it because that oil pump was operating at a higher pressure. Regardless, the lifters are going to fail like that after 72,000 miles. They were going to fail whether you're somebody that tows heavy or not. So yeah, a lot of people are going to think, well, I should have had a diesel all along because the diesel would have been able to handle that 15,000 pound fifth wheel. But part of the reason we bought the gas engine in the first place was we could tow that big fifth wheel with a single rear wheel truck because the gas engine has a lot of payload. The diesels are heavier, so there's less payload available to you. Yeah, diesels tow better. I mean, I've always said that. Diesels, of course, tow better. But it's relative to what you're towing. Right now, we only tow a 9,000 pound travel trailer. We do want to go back to a fifth wheel at some point, but it's probably going to be sort of a smaller mid-sized fifth wheel. And I think we absolutely could have gone with another gas truck, but I wanted to go with diesel. This isn't my first diesel. It's my first diesel truck, but we used to have a diesel school bus conversion. I wanted to go with diesel because I wanted to have the experience of owning a diesel truck, just for the expertise on this channel. And also there is the issue of longevity. There's cost involved, but you pay a little extra for a diesel and it lasts a bit longer. I think the cost of diesel fuel compared to the few extra miles per gallon you get is kind of a wash. The maintenance is kind of a wash. You have to do less maintenance on the diesel, but it costs more when you do it. I think that all just kind of works out until later on when you start having bigger issues. A gas truck certainly isn't going to last as long, and that's why diesel trucks hold their value better. So I was in a better financial position this time, whereas last time I thought, okay, I'm going to go with the gas truck. It's like a $12,000 upgrade to go to the diesel, and that's coincidentally the replacement cost of the gasoline engine. So the worst case scenario, that engine completely fails. I even said this, I think, on that video. Worst case scenario, that engine fails. I can replace it and still be in this truck for the same amount as the diesel upgrade. Maybe I jinxed myself. What we currently tow with this now and what we might tow in the future in it is also partially why we dropped down to an F250 instead of a 350. In reality, if there was a 350 available in this configuration on the lot, probably would have grabbed it, because the difference in price between a 250 and a 350 it's very small. It's like $1,200 or something like that. But I'm very happy with this. So this is a F250 Lariat. The old one was an XLT. This one's a Lariat. This is a 2023, has some additional features that I love. It has the sunroof, which is really cool. It has the motorized steps, which are really cool. It has the Pro Trailer Backup Assist, which I don't know that I like and haven't really gotten used to. It's where you turn a knob to back up the trailer. I don't think I'm going to use that. I don't think I'm going to be a fan of that. It has a big camera package, which I do like. I've got two cameras on the back, one pointing down at the hitch and one pointing backwards. And I've got the front camera, which I really love for parking situations. And in general, being able to see a full 360-degree view. But overall, do I need a Lariat? No, the XLT was fine. And so one of the biggest things, though, that people have said to us from the beginning of our journey in RVing, and we've been doing this for about 8 years now, is go diesel. You'll never want to tow with anything else ever again. And I will say, look, I have a few thousand miles on this now. I've driven it from Florida back up to Illinois, to Wisconsin, to Indiana, a few trips here and there, and of course around town everywhere. I didn't hate the way my gas truck did on mountain passes. It did fine. I mean, people are scared of revs. That's what it's supposed to do. Does the diesel do a really good job? Yeah. Is the exhaust brake nice? Yeah. Will I like the exhaust brake even better when I'm going down real big mountain passes like in Colorado? Surely. But again, the gas truck did fine. Is it life-changingly different? No, it's better. It's not night and day. And I think that's really one of the important lessons here for me. And I think something that I would like to share with all of you is that people have a confirmation bias. When someone buys something, they like it. They're more prone to like it. This is why Amazon reviews are higher than the product should actually be rated, because people rate stuff higher than it should be because they bought it, they did the research, and they want to believe that it was a better product. Like this ice cream, this is a good product and I'm happy with it so far. I was happy with the old truck so far until all hell broke loose. A real big lesson for me here too is that, I'm a believer in not buying extended warranties on most things. I feel like if you can afford to replace it, as the financial advice often is, don't get the extended warranty, because in the end, when you buy all these extended warranties, it's going to cost more money than the sum total of the things you would have replaced. But with something so expensive and with so many different things that could go wrong with it, I think I'm just all in on extended warranties for big trucks. Not even like, small and medium-sized vehicles, but a big truck is going to cost you, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 or more. The extended warranty, a couple $1,000s from the manufacturer extended warranty, not just random Joe Schmo extended warranty. And you don't have to buy it from the dealer that you bought your truck at either. You can shop around dealers and get the best price. There are a couple dealers out there across the country that sell Ford extended warranties at like the best price available. I am all in on extended warranties. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but there's just so much that can go wrong that's so expensive to repair on some of these big trucks. The diesels have their own issues. Ford diesels have fuel pump issues, which I'm well aware of. The CP4 pump can fail, and when it does, it eats everything in the fuel system. And then, of course, all the diesel emissions system stuff can fail, and that's a subject for another time, but all diesels sort of deal with that kind of thing. So I like to have that protection of having that extended warranty. I particularly like now that I've got 150,000 miles of extended warranty on this truck. So that's really going to get me quite far with it. A lot of people don't realize too, with extended warranties on vehicles, when you sell that vehicle, if there's extended warranty left, you get that money back. You get prorated back to you the years and miles you didn't use on that warranty. So there's no concern about transferring it when you sell it, anything like that. So I think in the future, I'll probably do a more in-depth review of like my feelings about this truck and some of the different things on it in particular, because I think that's maybe more interesting, letting you know about individual features and whether those are useful. New navigation system, great. The new navigation system on Fords, they've got height, length, and width restrictions built in. So if you're towing a trailer, you can have that built in and it will give you that feedback. You don't need like a separate Garmin to do that for you. That's really cool. Cooled seats, big fan of the cooled seats, keep your butt cool on a long travel day. But all in all, gas versus diesel, it's a personal choice. And I think really what I said in that last video still rings true. If you're towing under 12,000 pounds or so, you don't need a diesel. It might be nice to have one for you, but you don't need one. If you're towing above 16,000 pounds or so, you're gonna want a diesel. It's gonna make all the difference in the world when you're towing that heavy, to have the exhaust brake and to have all that extra torque. But that zone in between, that 12 to 16,000 pound range, it's gonna kind of depend on your needs, how far you travel, all that sort of stuff, and your finances, all the different things that fit into that. It's a gray area. Not everything is black and white. So I'd love to know your thoughts. If you've owned gas trucks and diesel trucks, what's your take? What's your take on these 7.3 liter lifter issues? What's your take on some of the issues that I'm going to have with the diesel? Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. We'll see you next time.